and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another Leonardo pen comparison here, and I thought I would show you some of the varying range that Leonardo have available. So I think we'll just go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail. I'm not going to do a writing example in this video, mostly because I've already done writing examples of these pens in the past in either review videos or also in currently inked videos. So if you want to check out some of those pen writing experiences from these pens, do go check out those videos. They are available on my YouTube channel. But I think let's just go through these one by one. So we have, from left to right, we have the Leonardo, and this is the Furore Volcano. We have the Furore in the blue Galaxy. We have the Furore in the blue Emerald. We have the Furore in the orange. We have a Momento Zero in the Hawaii. We have a Momento Zero in the Mediterranean. We have a Momento Zero in the blue Abyss. We have a Momento Zero Grande in the copper. We have a Momento Zero Grande in the Caribe. And we have a Momento Zero Grande in the sand. So let's look at these pens in a little bit more detail. This is a really lovely material. This is the Furore Volcano. Now these pens are at least at the moment as I release this video, the cheapest versions of the Leonardo range of pens. So they start off with the Furore, they then go to the Momento Zeros, and then they go to the celluloid versions and likewise to the Grandes as well. So this is the cheapest of all of them, but cheap doesn't necessarily mean that they're not worth anything, because this is a really lovely writing pen. This comes with a broad steel nib. It's gold plated. These pens really do write very, very well. This is a broad nib here, and I just love how it writes. And I also like how it fits in my hand here. Now, these all come with cartridge converters. At least the Furores and the Momento Zeros, and also the Grandes do. And you can see here it has Leonardo Officina Italiana engraved. Now, these are screw-in converters, so do be careful if you are trying to remove the converter. Don't try to pull it out. And these are just really nice pens. Now, these pens actually have friction fitted nibs. Now Leonardo are actually in the process of switching over to screw-in nib units. Now I've seen a number of screw-in nib units on the Momento Zeros, but not on the Furores yet. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they won't be on the Furores, but it's possible that they may be in future. So that's just something to bear in mind. But these pens are really lovely to use and to write. Now you can open the blind cap here and access the converter if you want, but these are just a great size. If you want to post the cap, you can post it as well. It does become long, but it doesn't become back weighted. These really are super pens. So I wanted to show off the Furores there, and that is the Volcano. Now we also have the blue Galaxy, and this is a striking blue Galaxy for sure. This really comes to life and is a beautiful material. This, like the Volcano, is a resin. It's not a celluloid. And this really is a beautiful, beautiful material. So these are all numbered editions, not limited editions. And again, this comes with a steel nib, and it's a broad nib with a plastic feed. Likewise, it's a cartridge converter as well, but these really are just lovely pens to write with. I have a number of boards on my Leonardos, and I just love how they write. I have a medium on my Grande Sand, which is this one, and I love how that writes as well. All of the nibs are Bock nibs. They're not Yovo nibs, but they just, for me, most of them write very, very well. And then we have the Leonardo Furore, and this is the blue emerald, and you can see here why it's really called the blue emerald. It's almost like a very light blue turquoisey sort of sea colour, but it's got that hint of emerald in that blue there. But again, this is a really lovely pen. This comes with a steel nib, and again it's a broad nib there with a plastic feed. But again, these just really do feel nice in my hand. They are very lightweight, even though they are the entry model for Leonardo. Maybe they'll bring out a newer, lower entry model pen, but for the moment, the Furores I always believe are the lower entry models, along with the Momento Zeros, just the regular Momento Zeros. And then we have the Leonardo Furore, and this is the orange. Now they weren't really able to come up with a more better name for this, but this orange is beautiful. Just look at the chatoyance going on there in that resin. So again, these are resin pens, but they really do pop. They really do look the part. They all come with these roller style clips, and they just look nice. Now again, these are numbered editions. They do come with a steel broad, or actually this is a medium nib, not a broad nib. But again, in the size of the hand, it's very good, and you can post the caps as well. So that's the Leonardo Furore range of pens, and then this takes us on to the Momento Zero. So this is the Momento Zero in the Hawaii, and this again is a resin pen, but it's almost like a mix of resins. It just sort of almost like layered effect. So it's not a limited edition, again it's a numbered edition, but it's just a beautiful, beautiful material. Now if I unscrew the cap, you'll see here this is my pen, so this has a broad steel nib on it. And again, these are cartridge converter pens, just like the Furores. You can also access the converter from the blind cap if you want. If you don't want to do that, then you can just unscrew the body and access the converter from there. But these pens do write nicely. Now this is a broad nib, and I love how this pen writes. It's very wet, very juicy wet, smooth nib, and for me that is a win-win situation. And then we go on to a slightly higher price range. So this is the Leonardo Momento Zeros, and this is the Mediterraneo. And you can see here this material is so much more striking. That sort of chatoyance there going on, the shininess and the depth of that material is really beautiful. Now this is a celluloid pen, it's not a resin pen, it's also a limited edition pen. So it is a limited edition pen of 100, and this is number 4. But it is the same size as the Momento Zero Hawaii. It does come with a 14 karat gold nib though, and this is a medium nib, and it's also a piston filling pen. So whereas the Momento Zeros, like the Hawaii, typically would sell for around about 150 pound, 150 euros, this would sell for around about 600 to 650 pound or euros. So you are adding a lot more price to the pen, but you are getting a gold nib upgrade to a 14 karat gold nib. You're getting a celluloid upgrade from a resin, and you're getting a piston upgrade from a cartridge converter. So I do think that that is actually worth the additional money. And then we have another one here, and this is a Leonardo Momento Zero, and this is the Blue Abyss. And again, this is a limited edition one of 100, so again it's a limited edition, and again it's a celluloid as well. And you can just see there that that celluloid also has a lot of shine and depth to it. But it's also a very dark colour, this Abyss. Now, just like the Mediterraneo, this is a 14 karat gold nib, and this is a medium nib, and it has an ebonite feed. Now, the Mediterraneo also has an ebonite feed. The standard Furores and Momento Zeros just have a ABS plastic feed. But again, this is a piston, 14 karat gold nib, and celluloid. So that in itself actually really makes the pen worth a little bit more money, and I think worthy of paying that additional money for the pen. And then we have the Leonardo Momento Zero, and this is the Grande, and this is the copper version. And you can see there has a lot of sort of really almost like a cracked ice copper effect going on there, with flecks of black in there. Actually reminds me of the Omas material, which was the scarlet red. Very, very similar to that. It's a beautiful material. Now, these are the larger Grandes, so versions of the Momento Zeros. Now, this comes with a medium nib here and an ebonite feed. So the Grandes, the regular Momento Zeros come with a plastic feed. The Grande versions come with an an ebonite feed, not an ABS plastic feed, even though it's a steel nib. But for me, this really is a beautiful pen. Now, the Grandes do have an oversized converter which you cannot remove, so this is glued into place. You have Leonardo Officina Italiana there on the converter, and you have a clutch mechanism, so if you try to over twist the converter too much, you get that clicking noise. And I do like that in this pen. I do like the oversize of the pen. It just, for me, feels a lot more substantial, a little bit more weighty, a little bit more longer, a little bit more girthy, and just, for me, more comfortable in my hand. And I just like this. Now, you can post the caps as well if you want to on these, just like you can with the Furores and the regular Momento Zeros. But I just love this sort of pen, the size of the pen, and I love the material as well. So typically the Grandes with the steel nib go for about 100 more than the Momento Zeros, just the regular versions. And then we have this one, which again is another Momento Zero Grande, and this is the Caribe, and I believe it's short for Caribbean. You can see the luscious blue and green colours there in the body. It really is a lovely pen. It's a Grande as well. So it comes with a steel nib. This comes with a fine nib, comes with an ebonite feed, and it also, just like the copper there, it just comes with the oversized converter, which is glued into place. It's not removable. But again, it's just a beautiful, beautiful pen. So I think Leonardo really have got some great resins and celluloids as well. And then, last but not least, we have the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande in the sand. And this is what started me down the Grande route more. Was I saw this at the London Pen Show in October 2019. John had this on his table, and I said, I have to have that pen. I like the size of it. As I mentioned, it's just a size that works for me and feels very comfortable. And I'd seen this pattern and colour of the sand online before the London Pen Show. And when I saw John had only one of these here on his table, I decided I had to buy it there and then. And I'm so glad that I did, because it comes with a medium nib which writes really, really lovely. And I have this one inked up with Leonardo Purple, which is what it came with. And it's just a beautiful pen to write with. So for me, I just love writing with this pen, and again, you can post the cap if you want to. I typically hold the pen a little bit higher up. I don't go to the bottom of the section. I tend to hold them up a little bit more towards the threads, but I find it very, very comfortable. It's a really, really nice pen. So that really is my comparison of the Leonardo range of pens, the Furores, the Momento Zeros, and the Grandes. Again, I'd like to thank John from stjohnspens.com for loaning me some of these pens for review. If you haven't checked him out already, check him out at stjohnspens.com or St John's Pens on Instagram. If you can get out to a pen show, he's going to be at all of the UK pen shows as well as most of the European pen shows. But if you can't, check him out at stjohnspens.com or St John's Pens on Instagram. So again, I'd like to thank John for loaning me some of these pens for review. And that wraps up my Leonardo comparison pen range of the Furores, Momento Zeros and Grandes. So thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.